Now, a special mid-morning from WCCO.
It is day 2 of being at home.
Good morning, kids. You too, Mom and Dad. Today we're talking about life right now.
We're all scared just like you guys.
It's a little weird, right? And sometimes overwhelming.
Mama, Mommy, this is too hard.
No school, no sports, no food on the shelf. Stuck at home with family only.
Because I know I'm not the only mom and ma or dad out here that is struggling.
Stick around. We're going to break things down, get advice, answer your questions.
And a germ spread.
And we're here to help our families through this.
You're watching WCCO Mid-Morning with Jason DeRusha and Heather Brown. Now we're talking.
Thank you for joining us here on Mid-Morning. I'm Heather Brown.
And I'm Jason DeRusha. We're so glad to have everyone watching us here on WCCO and streaming on CBSN Minnesota, especially the young people.
Yeah, we're going to start off this morning letting you know, look, you notice that we are sitting far apart. Jason and I actually aren't even in the same room right now, and that's because doctors think that it's healthier for us just to stand far apart from each other. They say at least 6 feet.
Right, and that's the magic number, and you guys should be doing this too. We know it's hard, we know it's challenging. We'll talk a little bit more about the logic behind it and talk about that a little later. But first, we want to talk a little bit about what is making people sick. It's called COVID-19 or coronavirus.
So this is a disease that can make you feel pretty crummy sometimes. You get a fever, a sore throat, a bad cough, and it can jump from person to person really easily. So if we stay far apart, the hope is that the disease will slow down and stop.
Well, not to just brag about you, Heather, but you have been doing a terrific job going to the experts, getting the good questions that so many people have been sending in answered with the best information that we have right now, right? This is, I don't know, when you think about it in terms of a school project, this is the first draft, right? We're all kind of figuring it out as we go along. But let's start with one of the common questions that you've been getting, and that is about the grocery store.
Right.
Because we've closed the schools, we've closed so many other spots. Is it safe to eat the food that we buy at the grocery store? You know, the unwrapped stuff like the produce or the meat or the fish, that sort of thing.
This is a big one that has been coming into our inbox. And for this one, I went to 3 infectious disease doctors out there because I wanted to get a variety of opinions on what they thought. And they said, yes, it's fine. There's really not a lot of evidence that food sort of transmits this virus. Remember, we talked about this. It comes through the droplets in the air. So if you do go to the grocery store, make sure you do that social distance. You stay far apart from each other. But as far as the fruits and vegetables, the doctors say that they are fine. Just make sure, like you would at other times, when you go home, wash them up. And again, friction is important for washing them.
Try to get all that, whatever might be on there. And as far as we know, we don't think that COVID-19 is spread by food, right?
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to watch out for all the people. That's what we're all trying to watch out for, right? Speaking of which, let's talk about the doctor or the dentist.
This hits close to you, I know, Jason.
This hits at the DeRusha house because my 12-year-old Sam was supposed to get his braces off next week. And the phone call came yesterday.
Right. So for all those kids out there that might have the routine dentist appointment or maybe your checkup, you know, we have our 4-year-old checkup coming up, you're going to probably have to wait on those. A lot of the doctor's offices and hospitals and clinics are canceling what they're calling non-essential appointments. And so elective surgeries, things like that, you will most likely get a call from your doctor or dentist's office. But if you're not sure, make sure you give them a call as well.
Smart. Okay, what about going outside? This is another thing I know a lot of parents. I definitely am envious of the parents who have the detailed schedule for the kids today. But a lot of parents have been sending their kid outside, like go take a walk or go take a bike ride. Is it safe to do that?
Right. And experts say yes, it is. Please actually go ahead and do that because especially during this time, it's making sure it's important to exercise. So go out for a walk, get out for that bike ride. Just remember to stay apart from each other. So if you're thinking about, well, hey, can I go out and play with the neighbor kids? You can, but the experts say kind of limit it to just 1 or 2 kids at most, and really do your best to stay 6 feet apart. So maybe it's tossing a ball to each other, but that's a hard thing we know for kids to do. So parents, when you're thinking about this decision, you know, we want to take that into consideration as well.
We'll talk a little bit more about some of those things coming up. Very good. All right, great stuff, Heather. Thank you.
As as we mentioned, we sure have been getting a lot of good questions, and that includes questions coming in from our kid viewers. So we asked our mid-morning pediatrician, Dr. Gigi Challa, she's chief of pediatrics at Children's Minnesota, to help us answer a couple of them. Thanks so much, Dr. Gigi, for coming in today. Let's get going with question number 1.
My name is Nathan. My name is Ollie. And our question is, how did the virus start?
Dr. Gigi, that is a good one. How did this virus get started?
Well, thanks for the question, Nathan and Ari. You guys are adorable. Coronavirus has always been around. So coronavirus, as we know it, gives kids and adults colds. And it's, you can feel it with congestion and some runny noses. In China, we did have a change in one of the strains of coronavirus. That could have happened anywhere in the world, but it happened in China. And because it shifted there in an area where there's lots of people who travel and have, go there for business, then it quickly spread to other parts of the world.
Mm-hmm. How about this one? Let's take question number 2.
I'm wondering if COVID-19/coronavirus can affect children.
Ooh, Dr. Gigi, that sure is one that's been coming in a whole lot.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Juliana. I think the way to think about this is that coronavirus gives kids a cold. And so when kids get COVID-19, they don't experience it as a severe illness at all. They experience it more like a cold.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dr. Gigi, how about question number 3?
Hi, my name is Jonah. And how do coronavirus spread? How do germs spread?
It's a good one. Researchers are still constantly looking at this virus and learning new things about it all the time.
Yes, thank you. And I like the way Jonah had his hands moving out there because that's a little bit about what it is. The germs from COVID-19 are spread by coughing and the droplets that spread from coughing. So I think Jonah had the right idea there with his fingers. Mm-hmm. Those droplets, when you cough, can go about 3 or 4 feet, which is why when you stand 6 feet away, you're not likely to come into contact with any of those droplets that other people have. Mm-hmm. You do have to think a little bit about the surfaces where some of those droplets can land, because those, if you touch those surfaces and then put them in, touch your nose or touch your mouth, that might be another way to do it. So really important then to be washing your hands.
Yeah, Jonah, that's why Mom and Dad keep telling you to wash your hands all the time. Let's get to question number 4.
Hi, my name is Michael, and my question about the coronavirus is, can we get the coronavirus more than once? Hope you can answer it. Thank you.
There you go. Can you get it more than once?
Thanks, Michael, for that question. I think when you think about coronaviruses in general, we do think about getting coronaviruses more than one time is possible. But I think your question might be, can we get COVID another time? And we don't know enough about that to be able to say definitively whether or not you can get it more than once at this time.
Dr. Gigi, question number 5 comes from Alexandra, and I'm just going to read this one for us. She wanted to know, why is everything shutting down?
Alexandra, that is just a really good question. Yes. When you think about getting if one child in your classroom gets a cold and doesn't feel well and then can't come to school that day, there are still all the other kids in that classroom who haven't had the illness and can be in that classroom. The reason that we think about social distancing or not being all together is that this virus can very quickly spread through those classrooms, and then the entire classroom is sick at the same time. So if we can keep people a little bit separated, like naturally happens with all other coronaviruses, where you get a cold and then a couple days later your buddy gets a cold, and then maybe a week later your third friend gets a cold. If we can slow it down so that it mimics that, then the good thing about that is then doctors like myself, we can make sure that we can get to all of your buddies instead of having to see all of those people at the same time.
Yeah, that's the best explainer I've heard on that one so far. Let's get to question number 6.
Hi, I'm Eva. I'm a little bit sad that I can't go to people's houses, or they can't go to parks where we cannot play it. So when can we?
Oh, Eva, you are not alone. This is a tough one, this play date question.
Eva, I am so sorry, because I know you're right. I want you to play also. And if there are ways that you can get outside and run around and play, I really, really hope you do that, because those are the things that also keep your mind and your body healthy. I think the question, though, is when can you play really closely with other kids? And the answer to that is probably not right now, because we do want to do that piece of where we slow the virus down so that it isn't affecting everyone, all the kids at the same time, so that it doesn't affect all the grown-ups at the same time, too.
All right. How about question number 7?
Hi, my name is Livy, and my question is, when can I go back to school?
Ooh, Livy, there's so many people asking that question right now.
Yeah, Livy, thanks for that question. Yeah. I don't think I know the answer yet about when kids are going to be able to go back to school. It really depends on how this virus spreads and the ability to kind of keep it in, get it in the community to the point where it's gone through and we get to the other end. And whether that's a couple weeks or a couple months, I can't quite say yet, because it really depends on how good of a job everybody does at staying in their own homes.
And Dr. Gigi, we have one final question. This one came in yesterday, and we wanted to know, is this tooth fairy still going to come, though?
That is a really good question. You know, those tooth fairies, I do believe, still come during COVID-19.
Okay. They're just waiting for us to lose those teeth right there. Yeah. Dr. Gigi, thank you so much for coming in today and answering
Thanks for
all these
having
questions.
me, guys.
Yep, we really appreciate it. Jason?
Heather, I don't know how you held it together there. Those questions from Nathan and Ari and Juliana and Jonah just make me tear up. You kids are the best. Thank you. Up next, we're going to get some advice from our relationship expert on how families can talk together about the outbreak. Oh, and so many student athletes. It's your senior year, maybe your season coming to a sudden halt. How some are dealing with that disappointment.
You're watching WCCO Mid-Morning with Jason DeRusha and Heather Brown. Now we're talking.
Welcome back, everybody. It is now 9:28, and it is a little drizzly out there outside if you're thinking about taking the kids out for a little walk or a bike ride out there.
Yeah, we knew Tuesday would be the best outdoors day. Today, probably the worst in terms of having to add some extra layers, grab the umbrella, and eventually later today, some steady rain that will change to some snow. So the weather watcher is green, signaling both rain and snow on the way. What follows will be drier weather, but it's also going to be really windy and cold. So we'll talk all about that, Heather, coming up.
Great, Mike, thank you. COVID-19 hit the sports world hard. Athletes from the pros all the way down to high school.
Boy, imagine being a senior on an undefeated team. You would have been the top seeded team in this year's state tournament, all leading up to this, and then it's over. Some of them talked with our Norman Seawright about how they're dealing with having one of the best times of their lives taken away.
This week, Eden Prairie High School's undefeated boys basketball team would have been competing in the state tournament.
Obviously an odd situation. Typically I would be interviewing you all face to face, but now we have you all in an arrangement like this. Is this weird?
It's definitely a little weird, but like we've said, we've tried to make the best out of the situation. And a lot of these guys I've known since I was like in 3rd, 4th grade.
With no tournament, no prom, no hanging out.
I'm just thinking about this coronavirus thing. It's been taking a lot of stuff we love away. All the joy we have with the team and just socially too. I'm missing school because I have nothing to do at home. It's just been really boring lately.
It's a lot for them to cope with.
It still hurts that we weren't able to win the state championship, but we know what we were capable of.
Even though we don't necessarily have a state championship banner, we know in our hearts how good we were and what that means for the community.
But in the downtime, they've quickly come up with silver linings.
Quickly they went to what's the bigger picture, and frankly that's maybe the biggest reason why we had such success this year is because it's never been about each individual player, it's about the group.
It's basically taught me that nothing is permanent. Like the fact that we didn't get any closure, like we didn't know when our last game or practice was or anything like that. We obviously had an idea, but it's really just taught me to appreciate like what's in front of me.
Although the viral pandemic has robbed these kids of a normal high school experience and maybe even a state championship.
How do you break through that boredom? I mean, what do you do to pass the time?
A lot of video games, eating. I've watched about 4 seasons of Family Guy.
It's driven home a valuable lesson that basketball already taught them.
Yeah, these are just times of uncertainty, and we're all just trying to make the best of it by enjoying each other and doing everything we can to stick with each other, and whether that's texting each other or get on a group FaceTime or whatever, and we're just trying to make the best of these.
We're all in this together. Norman Seawright, WCCO 4 News.
Boy, their coach spoke about hanging up a banner that said the perfect season on it, just to reflect the way that the Eagles have carried themselves and to commemorate. Really, what an achievement. Never losing a game, Heather. I think about so many kids who are in this scenario.
Right.
You know, whether it's, being a little kid on the all-star team of whatever winter sport you were playing, or college kids. You think about those students at University of St. Thomas. They have made it to the Division III Sweet 16 for basketball. You know, kids who have played their whole life, this may be the last time they play an organized sport like that in a competitive way, and then it's over.
And I love how they're dealing with it, too, because they get it. They get why we're doing this. And just to say, we might not have gotten the title, but we already know that we're champions in our heart. It gives me a lot of hope and a lot of positive feelings and understanding that they get it and they know why we're doing what we're doing. I also appreciated the 4 seasons of Family Guy. That sure rang true, so that was funny.
Yeah, I think a lot of times the kids have a better handle on this than we do as adults, right? Like they have the perspective that their whole life is still ahead of them. So
still be a memorable season, though, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, you'll never forget the coronavirus year, right? Dealing with this for all of us, you saw how those high school students are. For a lot of us, it can be overwhelming.
It can. So we asked our relationship expert, Dr. Kirsten Lynn Seal, who you've seen many times on this show, to give us some advice on talking together as a family.
Kirsten, so glad to have you with us as we talk about anxiety. Many people, adults, are anxious, but let's talk about the kids, because I know that kids in this time, out of school, uncertainty about what this virus is. What advice do you have?
Well, for parents, the first thing that I would say is it's like that, when you get on an airplane, which, we're not really doing that much anymore right now, but when you get on an airplane and in the safety instructions, they say, put your own mask on before you help someone who's with you to put their mask on. So this is the same thing I would say right now for parents. Do your best because you've got to manage not only your own anxiety, but also the anxiety of your children. And so the calmer that you can be and the more grounded you can feel, the better. One of the things that I recommend for parents is to try to do some sort of meditative, some sort of calming self-talk if you're a spiritual person. Some sort of prayer can often be helpful in these circumstances. But as far as what you should tell your children, the first and most important thing is to simply reassure them, right? Tell them, it's like Mr. Rogers' mother said, look for the helpers. Point out the doctors, the researchers. We have some really, really smart and good people who are working on these issues to try to find a vaccine, to try to find treatments. That can be a very useful thing to help kids, something concrete that they can hang on to. The second thing is about this basic question of what can we control versus what can we not control? And so with kids, a lot of the things are very similar as to what we can control, which is we can wash our hands, We cannot shake hands with people, do elbow bumps. We can stay 6 feet away from people. You know, this is why we're home from school. All of this, these things, we can get good sleep. We can make sure we're eating well. We can try to not fight with our siblings. All of these things that will help us stay healthy. And that is sort of the best thing for right now.
Kirsten, one of the things, I just want to interrupt just real quick, because one of the things is us parents being anxious. Our kids can sense when we are, as our parents, are being anxious. So I think one of the things we were talking about was, what are the signs to look for if you start feeling that your kids are feeling some of that, of what you're feeling?
Right. Yes, so kids don't always have words for the anxiety that they're feeling, and of course it really depends developmentally on sort of where they are. Like infants, but babies can totally feel what's going on. They may get more cranky, they may not be sleeping as well, they may cry more. Preschool, kindergarten-age kids, they may have tummy aches, they may have headaches, they may regress, like in terms of toilet training or tantrums. And then older kids, sort of middle school age kids, they might either want to talk about it a lot or they not want to talk about it at all. So either of those you can see. And then for teenagers, kind of the same thing. Sometimes, you know, teenagers can really act out, is one of the ways that they can show their anxiety, given how we're on sort of such a social distancing, you know, stay at home sort of situation. The acting out might show itself in different ways. But basically, those are all the ways. If you're having trouble with your child and become irritated, just have the first thought in your mind that this may be anxiety showing itself in a developmentally appropriate way for your child. And then the other thing that I would say is that a way to sort of intervene here and help is to name the feelings, right? Validate your child's emotions. This is so important. And I would argue we need to validate our own emotions too. So understanding that we are scared, that we are anxious, you know, we don't want to sort of lay that on our children necessarily, but in terms of how we talk to each other as adults, really sort of validating that this is uncharted territory.
Yeah, no question about it. Kirsten Lynn Steele, thank you so much for spending some time with us, hopefully easing some of the anxiety we know is out there.
Yes, yeah, I hope so. Take good care, both of you, and everybody.
You too.
Yeah, it's a real thing, isn't it, Heather? I mean, have you noticed it with your family at all?
I have.
Yeah.
And I'm also more careful about what I'm saying while I'm at home, and letting them understand that everybody's safe and everybody's going to be fine, but this is a temporary thing, but we're going to have fun. We're going to have school at home, you know, those types of things. So I really appreciate Kirsten sharing some of those stuff, because, you know, we are spending a lot of time together as our families.
I think it's important, though, to honor the fact that, like, you know, I have 2 kids, different ages, different ways of coping. And you have to honor the fact that, you know, there may be unease out there, and that's okay too. Like, we're not always going to put lipstick on a pig and make everything better. Like, it's okay to understand that this isn't great. One way to deal with it maybe is to get out there and get a little active, a little family exercise.
Yeah, we asked our mid-morning fitness expert, Allie Holman, to show us some exercises that you can do with your kids.
Hey everybody, it's Allie Holman, and we are at home. I have my daughter Ava and my daughter Demi, and I know that being isolated inside, especially with kids, can sometimes be challenging. So it's so important to take the time to get moving with your kids, or just have your kids do this to have them burn off some energy before they go read a book and keep themselves busy during this time. Now, we have 4 exercises that we think that you should do today, and all you need are 2 simple things. First thing, either a play ball or a basketball. So if you have children, you have one of these around, and a towel, just 1 towel, and we're on a slippery surface. So if you have wood floors, linoleum tile, that would be perfect. So ladies, are you ready? We're ready to burn off some energy, and we're first going to start with our ball in that left corner. We're going to do a squat rainbow. Now we would do 20 of these. Here we go. Squat, rainbow, rainbow. Knees are equally bent, bringing that ball over our head. Woo! And designate a counter for this one. So you would do 20 of these just like this. After you do 20, we're going to put our right foot on our towel strap. So it can be any type of small towel. And we're going to get down into this low squat, hands on our hips. Circle, circle. 20 circles on the right. Hey, it's a great way to have your kids clean the floor too, okay? I'm thinking. 20 circles on the right, and then you'd switch. 20 Circles on the left. Woo! Burning. Also working on that core strength. Now let's grab that play ball again. We're going to get our feet wide. Now, if you have a high energy kid, this should take some wind out of their sails. We're going to squat with our ball at our chest. Push. Push. Push that ball away from you. Woo! 20 jumps. Push. Push. Squatting every time. Let's see who can get highest. Good. After the 20 of those, you will grab that towel again. Put that towel over your head and stretch it really tight. Let's go. Pull it down. Pull it down. Pull it down. Pull it down. Good. 20 of these. It's basically a standing crunch. Woo! Good. Now hug up. Got some energy burned off. Try to do something every day to get moving together as a family. Stay in a positive mindset. We got this, guys. Let's do this together. Let's stay moving. Let's stay healthy. Have a great day.
Awesome. Great stuff, Allie. Thank you. And Allie is having a 50% off sale at corecamper.com right now. You don't need a code. Just go to the website and you can subscribe. She has some kids-specific workouts as well as daily online workouts for adults. WCCO.com/links, and we'll hook you up. Coming up next, we are getting some tips from our lifestyle contributor, Jasmine, about ways we can all stay active at home.
But first, let's enjoy this song from the Okie Dokie Brothers. They sent it in to us. It's a good reminder. It's called Don't Touch Your Face.
Don't touch your face. Use one hand to wash the other, but just don't touch your face. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your face. Use one hand to wash the other, but just don't touch your face. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your face. Use one hand to wash the other, but just don't touch your face.
We just want to remind you of a great resource out there that's really fun and educational. Liz Heineke has experiments you can do as a family at kitchenpantryscientist.com. All sorts of fun stuff. No accepting anybody saying I'm bored. Go to WCCO.com/links. We'll hook you up. Families hunkering down at home, of course. It's important still to have some structure and also look for ways like Kitchen Pantry Scientist to have fun.
So we asked our lifestyle contributor, Jasmine, for some ideas to keep busy and stay happy.
Hey, Jasmine, it sure doesn't take long for people to feel antsy at home, right? Let's talk about some of the things we can do.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what are we? We're officially in day 3, and I've seen so many posts about people saying, I have a newfound respect for child care providers and my children's teachers. So, yes, it is very easy for us to start feeling the anxiety and just the boredom, you know. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would be like, it's okay to be bored, but I'm here. I've got some tips to help you keep your families engaged during this self-quarantine period.
Cool. Let's talk about the first idea you have, which is to create a daily schedule.
Yes, and you gave a great example of the daily schedule your sister created. I think that children are creatures of habit. In fact, humans are creatures of habit. So as long as we can stick to a routine, that will really help ease some of the anxiety. And then it keeps your kids from asking, so what are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? They know what they're going to do next because what we're going to do next is on the schedule.
Another idea you have, and I thought this was a great one, was daily themes. What are you talking about there?
So a daily theme is a way that you can say that, okay, when we're done with our, dinner, our chores, our school time, we're going to have a art project night. We're going to craft one night. We're going to take it to the olden days and sit around and listen to a audible book or a podcast, the way people used to sit around and listen to the radio. We're going to have a game night. We're going to have a dance party, movie night, karaoke, so that each night or each day has a theme and you kind of look forward to doing that. Or, you put a break, you put a part of the theme into the breaks that you're creating during the day. So maybe you dance it out after lunch and you dance it out after dinner if it's dance party night.
How about family workouts? What do you think about that?
I think that's really important to keep the family moving. A lot of people are talking about how much more snacking they're doing because they're at home. So I know there are so many different home workouts. We have Allie with Core Camper. You can go on YouTube. One of the things that I love to do is this little program called Walk Away the Pounds, and you just walk in place. People have Pelotons, but there's so many options to make sure that we are staying active and moving, and we can still go outside and like walk in our driveways, walk around our house.
This is an opportunity for a lot of people who maybe were not great cooks. I'm not mentioning any names there, but to start getting in there and really cooking and coming up with some good ideas, and including your kids.
Exactly. This is a perfect time to start experimenting. Maybe, you know, watch a little food TV or Food Network, pull up some recipes. You can actually do challenges. You can do, like, you know, mom and dad against the kids. You can do bake-off competitions. If you ever wanted to experiment with some type of food, this is the time to do it, because we have this time at our hands. You know, we should think of this as really a gift, that we get to spend this time at home with our families doing things that we probably wouldn't do if we didn't have this opportunity.
Jasmine, a lot of us have these lists of things that we would work on if we ever had the time to do it. Now might be that chance. What are some of the kinds of things?
Me.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I call it your someday list. If you have this list of chores or projects or things that, oh, I would start taking knitting lessons, this is the opportunity to maybe, you know, pull up a knitting video on YouTube, or start, I have all these stools that I want to paint. Do these things that you said, I'm going to do it one day when I have the time. Today's the day.
Your next suggestion is what I really love here. The Instagram account for your pet.
Isn't, you know, all the cool pets have Instagram accounts. Mom does not have an Instagram account yet. But I think this is a great way to maybe get the kids involved, taking pictures. And because, again, we have this time, you can get a head start on your content. So you can take a lot of pictures, you can stage pictures, put costumes on. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of Instagram pet accounts coming up in the next couple of days.
Your last idea is good for Instagram, too, and good for the whole neighborhood. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I actually saw this on Nextdoor, and basically neighborhoods, my neighborhood, yesterday or this week for St. Patrick's Day, they put clover leaves in the windows, and so you can take your kids around your neighborhood for a walk, and they can look for the different clover leaves and maybe take a picture and post them on Instagram or post them on Nextdoor, post them on Facebook. I know on Friday they're going to be doing butterflies, so they're just changing it up every couple of days so the kids can go around and look for something. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt without being a scavenger hunt.
All right, Jasmine, great tips. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for just making us smile a little day. Love that yellow, love those flowers in there. You can find more of Jasmine's lifestyle tips and her thoughts on seizing the day. It's on her blog. It's called Carpe Diem with Jasmine. Go to WCCO.com/links and we'll be sure to get you there. Here's another good resource for you while you're at home. New Horizon Academy has some fun STEM at-home activities. They have videos and other resources for toddler all the way through school-age kids. You can find more information there at WCCO.com/links. We'll get you there to check them out.
It is a challenging time for families, I know, on multiple levels. You have parents at home working, kids going stir crazy, and
kids of all different ages.
Yeah, they won't start getting all those assignments for working at home.
Right.
I know my kids, many of the teachers have sent optional homework, optional activity, which, Mike, as you would imagine, in the DeRusha house, it's not optional.
I think your garage might actually finally get cleaned, though.
Well, it's a good day to be inside cleaning, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, not cold, really, when you think about it. Temperatures already near the average high for the day. We'll get a little bit of rain moving in as we go through the rest of the day. It's been light so far, steadier with time. It'll end as a little wet snow. Katie's in at noon today with an update on that.
Great. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us for this special version of Mid Morning. Of course, we will be right back here tomorrow.